So all the floor joists are now in place and bolted down to the beams, the support beams. And now I'm going to insulate the floor before I put the sheeting on.
This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding and accepted your ways from the corners of the earth. Now where you scream my name, I'm just beginning to regret you and my this love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. keeps sinking deeper and I can't escape. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding and accepted your ways from the corners of the earth. Now where you scream my name, I'm just beginning to regret you and my ways. 'Cause I'm just too scared now, too goddamn scared to change. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. My old friend came back today. He's trying to carry me to my grave. The shallow earth is where my bones now lay. But the earth keeps sinking deeper and I can't escape. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding and accepted your ways from the corners of the earth. Now where you scream my name, I'm just beginning to regret you and my ways. 'Cause I'm just too scared now, too goddamn scared to change. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. 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 I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding and accepted your ways from the corners of the earth. Now where you scream my name, I'm just beginning to regret you and my old ways. 'Cause I'm just too scared now, too goddamn scared to change. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave.
So now I'm going to put down some tongue and groove sheeting. It's a brand that has a little bit of water resistance to it, because it's going to take me a while to get this thing under roof. I am going to put plastic over everything and take it off when I work on it, put it back on every night, because it seems to rain here in Pennsylvania about every day this summer. So we want to keep this insulation from getting wet. So here, what I've done is I've put screws in the corners of this tongue and groove, because it's a little difficult to drive it together. So I put some screws in and tap it together to get the two pieces lined up before I come back and nail it. So let's watch me do that.
To my grave, the shallow earth is where my bones now lay. But the earth keeps sinking deeper and I can't escape. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding and accepted your ways from the corners of the earth. Now where you scream my name, I'm just beginning to regret you and my old ways. 'Cause I'm just too scared now, too goddamn scared to change. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. My old friend came back today. He's trying to carry me to my grave. The shallow earth is where my bones now lay. But the earth keeps sinking deeper and I can't escape. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding.
So this plywood material that I'm putting down here, this and a few 6x6 treated that you'll see me use on the porch later on, are the only wood materials that I purchased for this build so far, and the only material wood-wise that I tend to purchase for the building. Everything else I cut in a sawmill. Everything else came from trees on our property that either storm damage blew down. I'd say 80% of this project is from storm damaged trees that blew over, and I salvaged them. I did have to cut a few trees down, but most of them were storm damaged trees. But everything else is from the mill, except, of course, this plywood. I haven't figured out how to make plywood yet. And I could have sheeted this with boards, and I have sheeted many of buildings with 1-bys that you cut, but it's just not as nice a finished product when you put your finished floor in, because the boards are not consistently the same thickness if you don't run them through a planer or anything. So I decided to purchase this plywood for this job, and hopefully I can keep it dry. This Avantex is weather resistance, water resistance, but of course the seams, if they leak, the insulation is going to get wet. So I'll be covering it with plastic, but hopefully it doesn't get wet, and we can get this thing under roof as fast as possible. But being this is a one-man show, realistically it's going to take me longer than it normally should, and it seems to rain every day here, so I gotta try to protect it the best I can. So that's what we're gonna try to do.
This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding and accepted your ways from the corners of the earth. Now where you scream my name, I'm just beginning to regret you and my ways. 'Cause I'm just too scared now, too goddamn scared to change. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. This love's gonna carry me to my grave.
So there, 8 foot of the 20-foot wide deck is laid.